Welcome to Not Another White Box, the channel that brings you all that's cool, quirky and unusual in the caravan world. My name is Cameron and I'm here today to bring you one of my seemingly infamous NEC show tours. And we're going to take a look at all what's new in the world of caravans, but focus especially on the ones that are a little bit different to the norm, that are worthy of inclusion on Not Another White Box. But things are a bit different this year because, I don't know if you can tell, it's very quiet at the show. And we're actually here a few days early, and something different this year is happening which is a little bit exciting, and I can't wait to share it with you because it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do, and I was really honoured to be asked. For this year, I think I need to let you in on a little secret. The Caravan and Motorhome Club have actually added me to the judging panel for the 2024 Caravan Design Awards. So we're going to do things a bit different on this tour, and I'm still going to show you some amazing caravans, but we're going to meet some really interesting people who have contributed in some way to this year's Design Awards, and a few people in the industry that have helped us along the way. So very interesting video coming up, and I can't wait to get on with it. But I'm a little bit nervous. We've not yet done the judging. It's Saturday, so it's very early setup for the show. It doesn't open until the following Tuesday. So we're going to step over some of the carpet protector. We're going to dodge some of the building that's going on. We're going to take a very exclusive first look at some of the most fantastic, cool, quirky and unusual caravans at the show. Let's get started. We're going to start the tour today with this, which is a completely new concept, which is not like anything else that you'll see at the NEC Caravan and Motorhome show. It's made by Hobby and it's called the Beachy, and it was a new concept that was unveiled at the Dusseldorf Caravan Salon last year. But it makes its UK debut here, and it is a very interesting and slightly bizarre concept, to be honest with you. It looks like a caravan. It's quirky enough to qualify for Not Another White Box, but it's not really a caravan in the traditional sense. There is no heating, there is no cooker, there is no toilet, there's no shower. The design of this is something that is just a utilitarian camping vehicle for people who want a very basic step up from a tent. It's almost as if it's almost like a portable beach hut, if you like, I suppose. But it's really cool nonetheless, so we're going to take a little quick look at it now. This one is the 420 model, which is the largest of the two. And they're both absolutely identical inside. This one just has longer rear seats than the other one. It's, like I said, quite strange, so let's take a look together. The price for this is £19,595, and that includes taxes and shipping. And straight away you'll see it's not conventional at all. Starting with the kitchen over here, there's just cold running water, and there is space for a cooker. I'm obsessed with this wood. It's like, it feels real, it looks real, it has a real tangible grain to it, but it's not. It's durable, melamine or something similar, and it just reminds me so much of a beach hut. This is just so typical of a British beach hut that you would have, which I'm not really sure if that's something that they get on the continent too much. So this actually might appeal to more Brits than we might think. There's plenty of storage in here. You've got space under here to put the water tank. There's just a small, probably 10-litre tank, which is probably adequate for washing up. And this in here is a huge drawer unit hiding a cool box, which is certainly not what you would expect to find in a caravan. I guess the benefit of that is you can take it outside. It becomes a bit more versatile. The front corner, where you would think you would find a washroom, you've actually got a very large wardrobe. This is somewhere where you could hang wetsuits and things, which again goes in with the beach theme for this caravan. The shelves, you can take them out, you can unhook them. So you could actually, if you wanted, put a porta potty in here and use it as a bit of a washroom. But predominantly, it's hanging space and storage for outdoor equipment. You've probably been looking in the background at these fancy little hooks on the wall. I kind of love this, and they're all adaptable. You can move them all about to suit you, depending on what you've got in here. And there are various storage boxes and things that you can buy for the caravan, so it all slots in where you would need it to be. In typical European style, we've got these pendant lights, which I absolutely love, and when you're wanting to eat dinner, you can lift them right down to just above table height. Up here we've got, this will make a huge double bed. You can take the tables out of the way and make this up into a bed using these cushions on this wall, which have backing on them to make them bridge the gap, to make this into a huge bed. But really this is somewhere where you could take the caravan out, you've gone surfing, you can come back here, prepare lunch, you can bring all your friends back with you. They don't have to push past you and through the main front door. They can come in through this delightful little stable door at the back. And actually, the longer I'm spending in here, it kind of makes sense in that sort of concept. I just think it's just a bit bizarre. I think there should be an option to buy one really that's fitted out a bit more conventionally, I guess. But if you're someone who likes camping and you don't want bells and whistles, this is a really great caravan for you. It's quirky, it's cool, and probably most importantly, it's built by a very, very, very well-known manufacturer who are so at the forefront of caravan manufacturing that they actually put a 12-year water ingress warranty on these caravans, which is just unrivaled, I think, in the industry. So it's something that's built to last. It's something that's cool. It's probably not going to age very quickly because it's so unusual. I definitely think if you're at the NEC, check these out for sure. If you watch my NEC show tours, you'll know that I can never walk past a tab without expelling its virtues, because these are one of my favourite caravans. Of course, we did a full tour of this. I'll put a link up here to it. This is fabulous, and for the NEC in October 2023 they've brought the Mexican Sunset Edition, which is the best one because it's orange. If you watch my channel, you know that I love these caravans. Already my wonderful patient fiance who's behind the camera is rolling his eyes at me going on about tabs yet again. So if you want to know more about this, check out that video. But if you are at the show this week, do have a look at this magnificence of orange all the way from Germany. I just love it. I love it so much. Really want to tell you more about it. Watch the video. There, am I allowed to say that much about it? It's fabulous. Check it out. I've been wandering around the show and I've bumped into these three lovely ladies. We've got Jane, Justine and Sammy, and we are all on the judging panel for the Caravan and Motorhome Club Design Awards. Now, we're not allowed to say who's judging what, but what we can say is that we're involved in it. I think it's fair to say.
Yes. Yeah.
And I suppose very quickly, what I want to sort of reiterate is that this is a really it's a really involved process, isn't it? It's not something we've just turned up at the show and done. It's been several weeks before.
2 weeks of work.
And we've really come to the show just to ratify our findings. But everyone's super qualified. We'll start with Jane. Your sort of caravanning experience goes back a long way, doesn't it?
It does, from very small age, with all sorts of small 2-berth, 4-berth, and now luxury caravans. So caravan rallying in particular.
And how long have you been a member of the Caravan and Motorhome Club?
I can say my parents joined in 1963.
Wow.
And I just carried on when they passed.
So certainly qualified to judge caravan design.
I hope so.
Justine, how about you?
Well, I think mine goes back to childhood as well, in caravans with my family. And then with my husband and my family, I've been caravans, tents, motorhomes, and been a member of the Motorhome Caravan Club for probably about 25 years, I think.
Just a little bit of experience.
Yeah, just a bit. And I'm a freelance writer as well, so I write about touring, but yeah, and travels.
Perfect. And Sammy?
Yeah, so like these ladies, I've been caravanning since I was a child, and I kind of came into the writing side via my late father, John Wickersham.
He's very well known in the industry. He wrote the original caravan manual.
He did, yes. And he's also built motorhomes as well from scratch. So I'm trying to follow in his footsteps, but I'm not going to go down the route of building motorhomes. But what I have done is I have rewritten one of the books and updated it, the Caravan Handbook, which sells on Amazon and the Alan Rogers website. But I'm a freelance journalist, and I've been a member of the club for 10 years now. And I write for the magazine as well, the Caravan and Motorhome Club magazine. So busy.
So between us, we know a thing or two about caravans, I think it's fair to say.
Yes.
So we've got a huge list of entrants this year, and we've all got very specific things to look for, but it's been nice going round together. It's sort of bounce ideas off each other.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
And
And learn from each other as well, haven't we? We've all learnt.
I suppose, well, you've all learnt from me.
We've learnt from you,
obviously.
Cameron, really, yeah.
More of an interest in the historic as well.
Yes, definitely.
As we've been walking around, what have been some of the things that have impressed you with the latest designs?
I think for me, I'm quite impressed by some of the innovation on some of the caravans that we've looked at, because it's gone a bit stale, I think, for a few years, but it's improving now, and there's some really nice little touches that are coming out, and also looking at electric caravans coming forward. I think there's you can see that the future is progressing at a faster pace now, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes going forward.
It's been quite interesting looking around that all of a sudden it's like technology's come to the forefront, hasn't it? And we've been looking around, there's been some really bonkers ideas and some stuff that really works, some stuff that really doesn't.
Sound systems, they've put in the USBs, the lights have got the USB points in, which is so advanced these days from what it was with gas mantles many years ago.
But also it's like the wireless charging as well, so they're really starting to get up to date with modern homes now, and they're getting these wireless chargers in these caravans. I think that's fab.
And I think there's some ideas that have come across from motorhomes as well, which I like.
Yeah.
Especially in a couple that we've seen, like the fold-down beds, which is quite innovative for a caravan design. So it's nice to see some crossover.
And this is the nice thing about the Design Awards, is it's done very scientifically, isn't it? We've all got to give everything a score and make sure that it's fair across the board, and there's a lot of double checking and making sure that we've made a really fair
Especially with both
observation.
British and overseas caravans coming through into the market also.
And I think it's very objective as well. We're looking at very objective points. It's not just our personal opinion about what we like, is it? So it's we are looking very specific.
I think that's why they've got such a broad selection of judges, because obviously we're all sat together, but there are more judges involved, and everyone's got different backgrounds, different experience, and it all comes together. I don't really know another awards
That's quite this intense.
Even in the name of doing a fair test, we've got into bed together several times.
Checking the lengths and the comfort.
Sat in the toilet.
Absolutely.
Looks at sink bowls, depths.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, tried out the oven.
Very thorough.
And that's what I love about it, is obviously we're all bringing caravanning experience to the table, aren't we? And a bit of how you would use the caravan obviously comes through, but the focus is on objectivity, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I think it's great.
It's a very, very thorough process.
Yeah. And what sort of, I don't know, if someone's looking at these awards and wanting to buy one of the caravans, what sort of advice would you give them if they're coming to the show and they've got to take it all in at once?
Well, I would say to them, do your research before you come to the show, because there are hundreds of caravans here, so you really need to kind of hone in what is it you want that caravan for. Are you going to be touring in the winter? Are you only going to be touring in the summer? So heating could be an issue. Do you want to have air conditioning if you're going away in the heat to hot countries? Weight, what's your tow car? Does it match the caravan? Do the research before you come to the show. And what's great about these awards, we take a lot of that effort out for them, so it really hones in on, if you want to buy a 3-4 berth caravan, we've sort of said, well, this is what we think you should look at, this is what we think is the best out there.
And I think something we've had to really consider this year, which is quite on topic, is price as well. We've actually given some of the cheaper vans higher marks because of the innovation at a lower price point, and that's so topical at the moment.
It is. And some of what we have been surprised about, I think, is the quality coming down from the higher price vans into the cheaper ones, isn't it? Which has been really, really great. And some of the the layouts, the upholstery is very similar, isn't it? So
hopefully
you get value
families
for
and young
money.
people can be able to afford those.
Yes.
Well, I actually think for new people coming into caravanning, some of the entry level caravans are fantastic to start out your caravanning journey, and then once they get used to that entry level caravan, then they can promote up and maybe go for the higher end caravans.
And even some of the more expensive ones are using really nice materials.
They are,
And
yes.
they're really upping their game.
They are.
Because we're all, we all own caravans, so it's a concern. Oh, motorhomes, sorry.
Motorhomes.
I'm being inclusive. It is a concern for us as well that obviously prices are going up, and that's been our focus, hasn't it? Making sure that yes, the price has gone up, but it's good value.
Yeah, what do you get in it for that price?
But there's some fab caravans for a reasonable price for families as well, which I think is so important, because caravanning is great for families. You get the kids out in the outdoors, and you could wake up and be in different places every day. It's brilliant. And so I think some of those entry level family vans are fantastic.
Yeah,
Taken
definitely.
to sites when they put up the awnings, etc. They're going to get even more benefit from
Absolutely.
facilities inside,
It
tables,
offers
etc.
extra
outside.
space.
I think that's what because it's the first year that I've done it. I'm really impressed by the categories that the club have set.
Yes.
Because it's really inclusive. It's considering everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Although we're judging these vans, they might not necessarily be in the same class on price, but we're saying actually this is supposed to be a 5-6 berth. Does this deliver? Is it a large family van? Is it a small 2-berth? And we really have to consider everything. I'm nervous now. We've got to wait till Wednesday morning to find out who the winners are. So tight lips until then.
Absolutely.
Can't say any more. But yeah, we'll pick this video up later and we'll find out who the winners were at the Caravan and Motorhome Club Design Awards 2024. Moving on to the Adria stand, and we will find a firm Not Another White Box favourite. If you watched the channel for a while, you'll know that we did an in-depth review of this model last year. This is the long-established 361 LT, but for 2024, there's something exciting, and it's not even anything to do with this one, so we're not going to have a look at it. If you want to know more about this one, check out the link to the full review that I did earlier in the year at the February show. But for 2024, the 361 LT is joined by the 391 PT, which is a 4-berth model, which is pretty faithful to the original Adria Action concept, which coincidentally for 2024 turns 20 years old. Those who remember the initial Adria Action, they had a high-level fixed bed at the front and a huge garage underneath. And the concept kind of passed Britain by, to be honest. It wasn't a caravan at that particular time that caravanners in Britain were interested in buying. But it's back for 2024 and it's been rethought, it's been extended slightly. Still got the same beautiful curvaceous shape, but it's a little bit more interesting. I think we should just dive in and have a look at what's changed and why you should have a look at it at the show. So stepping inside, the first thing you'll notice is that the kitchen is exactly the same as the other one. Still got your 2-burner hob, still got your British spec oven, still got the little square sink, and the washroom in the corner is exactly the same as the other one. And it's got this wonderful tip-up sink, which is still quite synonymous with this rear corner washroom. And it's a great design, it works really well. Then things start to change as we move to here, as you've got the really tall Thetford fridge, which is the first hint you get that this is a 4-berth caravan. But at the front end is where it all changed. So instead of having the huge fixed bed that the old one had, they've now moved it away towards the front of the caravan, and it actually folds. If you're not familiar with the original concept, it had a tiny little dinette that was just about wide enough for one person to sit, and then the bed was right here. And the downside was, during the day, you didn't really have anywhere to live in the caravan other than up on the bed or these two very small little seats. And you ended up with this enormous garage at the front, which you could never load up because it would make the nose weight too heavy. So it's nice to see that they've thought about it, gone back to the drawing board, and technically this is a 4-berth. You can sleep 2 on the bed above and 2 on the bed below. Not too sure that you'd want to do that, but as a 2-berth this works brilliantly, because suddenly you've got a little bit of space to spread out at the front here. And when the bed is folded away, it's not as obtrusive as it was before. And when it comes to bedtime, it's really easy to make the bed. You just slide it forward on these big runners and it hooks over 2 little bump stops. We've got a little ladder just for good measure. And then the cushion folds over like so. And the bed's huge. It's probably bigger than the original one was, to be honest with you. And then this ladder just clips in. Got to make sure it's clipped in securely so it doesn't slip on the floor. And then you can climb up into the bed. And it's as easy as that. And the nice thing is you've got this huge window above you. So you could lay here in bed and look at the stars, which to be fair you can in the 361 LT, because your heads will be down at the front of the Caravan with your feet at this end. But in the 391 PT, you're sleeping across the Caravan, but you can still see out the window. And there's plenty of space up here. It's a huge bed. It's probably at least 5 foot wide, this bed. But it's an interesting concept. I'm not sure I'd like to squeeze 4 people in here. The wardrobe space that's in the 361 LT has gone in favour of the large fridge, so you might struggle to fit everything you need for 4 people in here. But as a 2-berth that demands a little bit of versatility, it's brilliant. It's a really, really clever design. And we're going to be seeing more of this at the show. Caravans are now starting to move away from the traditional, it has to be like a caravan, because it's always been like a caravan. And this is probably the theme of the show this year. We've got, especially in the world of Not Another White Box, caravans that are branching out to include people's hobbies more in the caravan. So in this, for example, in the garage, you can store your surfboards or paddle boards, those kind of things. And you've just got the space to store all those bits of equipment that you would carry with you if you indulge in a hobby. And so many caravanners do. So it's nice to see caravan design starting to reflect that. Next door to the Adria action is the Swift stand, and the big news this year is this concept Basecamp Evo. Now it's so early doors at the show that I don't know absolutely everything about this yet, so we'll probably revisit it a bit later in the video. I'll give it its own dedicated video, because I know that the Basecamp is a real favourite of Not Another White Box followers, and this is so cool what they've done here. As the name Evo suggests, it's predominantly electric based improvements, but there's quite a lot more to it than that. It's more ecological, it's lighter, it's stronger, it's got better tech on it, and it really shows the direction that caravan design needs to go in, I think. The headline news is that there is 920 watts of solar on the roof. The whole roof, where possible, is covered with solar panels, and that's going to charge a master volt system here, which can power the whole vehicle. So this is going way beyond now a solar panel on the roof that charges a leisure battery. This has jumped up into the realms of electric car technology being used in a caravan. But the focus here is probably predominantly an ecological one. So the exterior mouldings have been remade using 85% recycled plastics. And this is a really cool little touch as well. There is a water collection point here that uses rainwater to top up the toilet flush tank. Genius. Inside the Basecamp 2 Evo, it looks like a Basecamp, it feels like a Basecamp, but all is not quite as it seems. Probably the first thing you'll notice, there is no gas cooker. It is electric induction, and there is a microwave oven below. And this is great news for all the hundreds of thousands of caravanners that have been struck out by the Cala gas issues for the last 2 years with availability. Moving to electric is really the answer at this point. It's more ecological, especially when the caravan has been used to generate the power that will make these appliances work. And for all you people who are obsessed with air fryers, they've got one on display which can run off the power system. For those of us who are making that transition from being excited by going out on a Friday night, at one point, next minute you know you're excited by your air fryer, that is a sign of getting old. Elsewhere in the Basecamp, it looks again like the standard Basecamp 2, but every little thing has been tweaked to use more ecological materials. Probably the most noticeable one is the cushion fillings, which they're claiming use 42 recycled plastic bottles per cushion to make the filling up. And again, it's lovely to see Swift taking this initiative to make a caravan that's more ecologically conscious, because I've long said, and those of you who watch my video about my Cheltenham, my personal caravan, pop a link up here, shameless self-promotion. The point was, I hate the fact that modern caravans are so filled with single-use plastics. So it's great to see Swift tackling this head on. Now, we knew nothing of this caravan, it just appeared at the show. Don't really know too much about it, other than the little bits I've been able to find out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab someone at Swift at some point and we'll revisit this, maybe later in the video, or maybe end up giving it a standalone video, because this really is a truly exciting concept. One of the most interesting caravans that you're going to see at the NEC Caravan and Motorhome show is the Knaus Yaseo 340PX, which, like the Swift we've just looked at, is pointing towards the direction that caravan design needs to go in. Now, the main brief for this one was to create something that was more suited to electric vehicles towing. So it's lightweight, it's got improved aerodynamics, all working together to increase the range that you would get when towing with an electric car. But it goes deeper than that. They've decided to not reinvent the wheel, but certainly really think outside the box when it comes to caravan design. And again, this is a vehicle that's suited to people who already have hobbies. In fact, there's so much to tell you about this that I'm going to do a whole dedicated video on its own of this model. But for the purposes of this tour, we're going to take a quick look. And straight away at the side, you'll notice you've got a normal entrance door, but you've got an entrance door here for little people. This leads inside, and when the seats are moved out of the way, there's the same size hatch on each side of the caravan where you can wheel a bike in, and there's anchor points in the floor to make sure that you can tether the bike down when you're towing. Moving on to the inside, straight away at the front you've got this kitchen which has the induction hob. This is fully electric, this caravan. We've also got a compressor fridge, which again is the future. We're getting rid of gas and moving towards electric because it's just going to work better, with better integration with electric vehicles. The kitchen in itself seems very small, but it's actually really well thought out. You have this little spice rack behind the sink which disappears down into the back of it. I'll try that again without breaking everything. Some of these things that make the edit are ridiculous. So you press on it and it slides up, or it's supposed to. Oh, have I broken it? Oh no, there we go. So your little spice rack in a roundabout way pops out. If you're at the show, perhaps leave this alone. But moving on into the front corner, we've got this washroom, which is really smart. I'm dead impressed with it. It looks a little bit more like something you'd find in a little boutique hotel. There's storage for things, there's mirrors, it's spacious, it's got a compact Dometic toilet, and it looks really cool. But of course the headline is the main area of the caravan. This is a conventional seating area. It's really comfortable actually. You've got the TV mounted on the wall, you've got your small doors here, and these seats will actually fold out of the way like so. When you want to tow, you slide the storage box back, and there you've got the access to the door for sliding your bikes in. And on the floor back here, you've got 2 anchorage points for the bikes and even 2 charging points here. So if you've got electric bikes, you'll be able to put them in here and charge them. And who knows, maybe your EV can charge it as you tow. Not really sure. If you only want to get 50 miles to the charge, that's probably something you could try. That wasn't me being shady. But if we put the cushions back as they were, I'm going to show you the true design feature of this caravan that makes it so impressive. If you're fans of my channel and you've seen any of my content related to 1960s caravans, you know that the tip-up bed is something that I've been championing since forever. So Knaus have brought it back, this wonderful retro design. Oh shit, the mattress is stuck. That's not how you do it, folks. Hang on. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. I'm gonna need to lie down after this. This video is trying me. So ordinarily you would have a strap on the mattress, which they've obviously moved out of the way for display purposes, so I'm not going to have a go at them for that. Someone's taken the strap off. But you've got this wonderful 5-foot wide bed here with loads of storage. The heating comes up from behind it. Your bedding would sit at the back when you fold the bed away, and they've made a fixed bed really in an extremely compact 3.4 meter long caravan. If this is the future of caravaning, I'm all for it. I think it's great. I just think it's so well thought out, and as the use of the space goes, it's truly, truly brilliant. But let's take a look around the front end and see what they've done outside the caravan to make this a forward-leaning, forward-thinking design. Outside, the Knaus Yaseo, I think looks a little bit too boxy, but that's probably my personal preference. Knaus have done the research here and they claim that this front end design is 14% more aerodynamic than a conventional caravan. Jury's out on that one. But this is where caravan design needs to be heading. We need to stop focusing on weight so much and focus more on aerodynamics, because many people who've researched it will tell you that weight isn't the main factor when towing a caravan. In terms of affecting fuel economy, aerodynamics is the biggest challenge that a caravan has to face to make it more economical to tow. So it's nice to see that Knaus have started with that point and designed the caravan around it, although the boxy profile to me is somewhat reminiscent of a 1970s CI Europa, so probably get into trouble for that one. But what I love about it is it's the interior that sells it for me. Concept and low drag coefficient aside, the interior really works, and it's full of practical touches that make it something really interesting. But like I said, this needs a longer, more in-depth video. There's so much to tell you about it.
The show is now open.
So we're on day one of the show, which is Club Day. So I thought it'd be good to grab a chat with the director of the Caravan and Motorhome Club. It's Director General, isn't it?
It is, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
I'll go. I'm trying to be professional. This is Nick Lomas, and we've already worked together this year in Morocco.
We have.
Which was...
We're actually roommates or caravan mates. I don't know how you pronounce it, but describe it. But yeah.
Yeah, and we had to share the caravan. We're actually in the desert.
We did. Yeah.
And we got to actually go off and film that slightly bonkers April Fool's.
We did.
What was it called? Club.
Well, it was. We said we'd taken a caravan to the moon for.
That was it.
For a Tranquility Base club campsite, which was on the moon. Yeah. As a bit of an April Fool.
I remember reading it thinking, we could get away from everyone. I was like, I quite fancy that. Where can I book?
Yeah, and we had a special pod designed to take you up there in your, on the top of a rocket that would take you all the way into lunar orbit. But yeah, of course it wasn't. We used the beautiful sand setting and backdrop of Morocco to do it, the Sahara Desert.
And had to make it look cold.
Yes, had to make it look cold. When it was very hot in a fake spacesuit, I can promise you that.
It was really fun. It was all good fun. So obviously it's been a really wet year. I know you are a very experienced motorhomer.
Yes.
How have you been managing to get out in your camper van this year?
I have, but short breaks. A busy year for lots of other reasons. So I've done a trip to Cheddar, did a lot of walking in Cheddar Gorge, and then some cycling around there as well, where I went to the Thatcher's cider place, which was great. And then a trip to Brighton as well. We really enjoyed a really nice sunny weekend there haven't been that many, have there, this year? But we were lucky to get a really sunny weekend to do that. So I've been doing quite a lot of weekend breaks.
This is what I've really loved. Like, this is the first year I've been involved with like a bit behind the scenes more, and I can't believe everyone is a genuine, passionate caravanner or motorhomer, aren't they? And the club has such a wealth of experience with the people involved.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the club is run by members, by volunteers. All our executive committee, all our board of directors are actually active caravanners who give their time to run a members club, and they give me, the task of running the sort of physical operations for them. But it's all guided by, active members. And personally, I was a member of the club myself before I ever actually started working here. So, and I've pretty much used all outfits. I've used a trailer tent when I first started, then had a few caravans, and now I'm a campervanner, a motorhomer. I've driven motorhomes all the way up through Sweden, and and on the Morocco trip, I even went in a roof tent, which is the first time I'd done a roof tent as well, and I was really pleased to do that as well.
I managed to avoid that. I was like, no, I'm a caravanner through and through. I'm staying in the caravan, and I managed to just avoid the roof tent. But that's it was quite handy for anyone who snored. We'd put them in the roof tent and push them off to one side.
Yeah, present company included, me. But yes, but I was really impressed at how comfortable it is,
Yeah.
and it's got one of those memory foam mattresses in it, and it's a really great place to sleep. Yeah,
It was great, wasn't it? So I won't keep you too long, but my burning question is, obviously, members first and foremost, what are you doing for members going forward into 2024 to sort of help with, obviously, the cost of living and everything? We've seen lots of prices go up. How's the club reacting to that next year?
Well, we obviously know that's an issue for everybody. No one wants to spend more than they have to, and at the moment every penny counts, doesn't it? So the club's been working really hard behind the scenes, and we've got some better prices on our energy costs and so on going forward, and so we're announcing our price drop campaign here. So we've got 1.5 million nights on the club network where we're reducing prices, and that's 60 of the most popular sites as well where those reductions are happening.
Excellent.
So you can expect to pay less next year on lots of sites, which is our way of saying thank you and also passing back the savings that we make. We've also reduced our deposit. As you know, we introduced the deposit system, which most members have welcomed because it means they can get the availability on the sites they want and stop those sort of those bookings that happen and then people don't fulfill them. And so that's really working. But we're maintaining the 10% deposit on bookings as well, which also just helps a bit. So we don't need to keep too much money. We just want to encourage good behaviour from members, and so that means we're passing that on as well.
Well, I know you're very busy. Thank you very much for taking 5 minutes of your time with us, and we'll see you around at the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm here with fellow West Yorkshire legend,
Absolutely, isn't it amazing that?
Karen Wright from Bake Off, and you are actually a keen caravaner, aren't you?
Yeah, always been a keen caravanner, right from being about 12 when my parents moved away from tents. They got the bug. I loved it because it was like a mini house. Like it was, I think a lot of young people think that, it's like playing in there, we play in the garden. So yeah, from 1970, I would say was my first experience with caravanning. And it goes on, of course.
If I remember, you when you left Bake Off, you said you were going to go off.
I did.
In your
We've
caravan.
got a caravan. We've just changed from a little motorhome we'd had back to a caravan because we'd do that. We got this one and we hadn't really had a chance to use it. So it was the back of my mind this. So when I was leaving, I went, no more baking, I'm going away in my caravan. I didn't realise I was going so quick, but that's another story, really. I went the next day off to clean caravans. That was the job I was sent to do after the bake-off, yeah.
And then you ended up, long story short, writing this book.
Yes.
Which to be honest, there's so many books on the market about cooking in a caravan.
There's a lot more than I thought when I started, yeah.
And to me, I was like, I really wanted something, cause they're always so convoluted and difficult. And what I like about it is you've brought that experience to it where they're all simple, but really nice recipes.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to have a lot of ingredients or a lot of equipment to get a decent meal that looks like something really special. Because for me, the end of a day, at home or on the holidays, is the day that I look forward to sitting down, having a glass of wine, having a really nice meal. So I want to be like really treating myself.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do it with a little bit of thought. Oh, my book, of course, it's quite helpful for that.
Absolutely. And I think I bought it back at the Harrogate show.
Yes, you did.
And I thought, I'm just going to get some recipe ideas, but I kind of fell in love with the story.
The stories are more important in some respects for people that are not that interested in cooking. Like my mum, she doesn't like cooking, and you know, she's 89, so she doesn't really want to do much. But she loves my book. She said, I can't believe how you've written and woven all those stories into the book, you know.
Because it's pretty much like a diary, isn't it, of your trip?
It's a journal. I journal the trip. So I talk about where I'm been and what I've seen, but I talk about how I feel, what happened, what went right, what went wrong. I mean, I remember John got stuck in the sanitation block in a thunderstorm. That was funny. I was sat back in the caravan thinking, but he'd gone in the sunshine.
Yeah.
and it was there. So that went in the book because it's everyday things that are quite funny.
That's the thing. Like whenever someone who's like been on the TV gets involved with camping, it's always a bit glitzy and everything's perfect. So what I loved about it was so real.
It's what's all.
Yeah, it was like arguing what song to play in the van, or when the canoe story that she told on the stage this morning. It was just like, this is so real. And I loved that humour really came across.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, trying to stand up in a rocky seabed. You know, have you ever been there? So get in, you fall over, and then because you've got no flip flops.
Watching your sandals float off down the river.
Exactly. You know, so that's what I write about. It amused me anyway.
I just loved it, and I thought, and the recipes we've tried at home as well.
They've all worked so far.
Because that's the thing, they're just easy.
Yeah.
And when we're in the caravan, like you say, you don't want to carry all these utensils and things, and it is like a cup of this, a dash of that.
Yeah, I don't use any scales because I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't take weighing scales with me.
No.
You know, it's just not necessary really.
So for people who are watching this video who want, it is a fantastic Christmas gift, I think.
Yeah.
Where can we find the book?
Well, it's on my website, which is www.karenwrightbakes.co.uk. It's available on Amazon by searching Meals on the Move. And if you know me in person, come and get one.
You've got your little side hustle going on.
Everywhere I go, I've got a box of books in the car, and John forgets, so he takes it out. And then I go back in the car and say, where's my box of books? I said, you never know who you might meet.
Exactly.
Got to be prepared.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks for having a chat with
No
us.
problem.
And
Thank you
you're going
so
to be
much.
very busy this week, aren't you?
Yes, I've got lots to do.
Brilliant.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've made it to Wednesday, which some weeks is an achievement in itself. But why is Wednesday important? It's because that's the day when we announce the winners of the 2024 Caravan and Motorhome Club Design Awards. I'm a little bit nervous, a little bit excited, don't really know what to expect. I've never been to the presentation before. So I'm going to bring you along with me and we can share that moment together. We've still got a few more vans to see on our tour, and the public's now in, so it's getting a little bit difficult to film. But we're going to press on. Still a few more really interesting things to see, I promise. So stick with it. We're going to take a look at first what happens at the Design Awards, and then we're going to finish off our tour of the NEC Caravan and Motorhome Show 2024.
Our fifth category is for pop tops with washroom, and the winner of the category is the Eriba Touring 630 Legend.
I'm just going to quickly call back at the Eriba stand to pass on my personal congratulations to the Eriba Touring 630 Legend, which was the overall winner in the Pop Top category of the Caravan and Motorhome Club Design Awards for 2024. Now, I obviously can't give away all the judges' secrets, but what I can reveal is that in that category, the competition was very, very stiff, especially as other models were submitted from Eriba too. But this one just pipped them at the post, and that's because this is probably the most anglicised Eriba that they've ever marketed in Britain. Aside from the fact that the door is still on the continental side, we're going to find inside things that Brits expect on caravans, such as a very familiar Truma combination boiler for the hot water and space heating, and of course a full oven. God forbid a British person could buy a caravan that doesn't have an oven fitted. We are obsessed. And you forever read on internet forums that people don't use the oven, yet it's something that we always demand is get fitted in a caravan, or the kitchen gets marked down if it doesn't have one. So Eriba have taken out the saw and they've chopped a big hole in the kitchen and shoehorned an oven in there. So hope you're happy. Let's take a closer look at why this caravan is so brilliant. As rear ends go, they don't get much more attractive or cool as this one. And we love a good joke like that on Not Another White Box. But the Eriba touring range is just that iconic Eriba shape. And instead of making it modern and contemporary and having hideous, great big lights on the back like you see on so many British vans. They've gone the opposite way. They've made it look retro. It looks timeless. It looks cool. These round lights are like something you'd find in an American car of the 50s or 60s. You've even got this chrome effect stainless steel bumper and the full width chrome grab handle. It looks fabulous. This is never going to date. Like most Eribas on the road, this is going to look ageless. It's something you can buy and keep in confidence that it's not going to look out of date next year, because this is as cool and traditional yet modern at the same time. It's just this perfect juxtaposition, which goes to show why Eriba is still at the forefront of caravan design all these years later, with a design that's so old, yet they managed to just tweak it year in, year out to keep it fresh and current and exciting. And that's what the Eriba Touring delivers in spades. We've got such high quality fittings, such as the side lockers. They're made by Eriba themselves. They're not plastic off the shelf fittings. They're actually made with curved aluminium. They're going to last forever. It's brilliant. And as we move to the interior, you'll see it's a really, really classy design inside. We've got the same interior that we've already seen on a few of the other Eribas on the tour. It's got this kind of copper effect to it, which looks just so stylish and contemporary. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because we've looked at this on the other models, but I'll show you some of the things that we absolutely loved when judging this van. From the cozy little dinette at the front to the huge fridge that's fitted that swings both ways. And of course the kitchen, which is the longest kitchen I've ever seen in an Eriba. And the centerpiece is that wonderful oven. British people go mad. It's got an oven and a separate grill. You cannot get better than that. It's got 3 gas rings, so points off because there's not 4, because we all know that we use 4 burners all the time in the Caravan. But they've managed to squeeze that in there, so British people, come bring your Yorkshire puddings and Sunday roasts and come buy an Eriba. In all seriousness, you've got loads of worktop space in here. You've got a nice big sink with a dedicated cover. You've got the usual beautiful high quality finishing touches that Eriba Caravans are so famous for. And despite that oven, which I keep joking about, there is actually loads of storage in here. We've got cupboards at the bottom, we've got drawers at the top, and it all just works together beautifully. On this side, we've got the washroom, which is exactly the same as some of the other models in the range. At the back, we've got this enormous fixed bed, which is a massive bed for 2 people. It's got a little side table here. You've obviously got the extra worktop here, so it doesn't feel hemmed in. It feels really open and spacious. And I love the low ceiling. It's just so cozy and comfortable. Overall, this van was a bit of a surprise for me. I didn't expect to find an Eriba, which we know stick to the traditional German specs of them that are so popular all over Europe. But to finally see one that's styled so in a British way, with all the fittings that we're used to finding on our vans included as standard, that is why it was a very worthy winner of its category. Iconic, eye-catching and shiny. No, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this, the Airstream. And you can't miss it. It's at the back of Hall 6 on the Loudham's leisure stand. And this is the International 25IB, which I have actually taken a very in-depth look at on my channel. So rather than show you again at the show, I'm going to pop the link to that video above, and you can check that out in your own time, because this is very, very interesting for being the first Airstream ever officially produced with the door on the UK side. So worth checking out. Check that video out, but we're going to continue on with our tour now. A whistle-stop tour of all the funky cool vans available at the NEC October show. Over in Hall 12, you will find a fantastic pop of colour. These are the Go Pods, and shout out to my follower Suzanne, who is really one of the true champions of this brand in Britain. And I've got to be honest, although it's a little bit small for my liking personally, I'm really starting to see the appeal of this van, and clearly other people do too, because they sell really well, and they've even scooped up one of the awards at the lightweight leisure section of the Caravan and Motorhome Club Design Awards. You've got a full GRP exterior moulding, so really good at keeping the water out, but also reducing the weight. And the beauty of that is they're able to make it super aerodynamic, so it's easier to tow. And the ones that I've seen out on the roads tend to be towed by really small cars and electric vehicles. So again, this could be the future where caravans are heading. Who knows? All I've got to say on that is I'm a big fan of one that's pink. I would definitely buy that. Moving inside, although I can actually stand up, I can't see the camera. So I'm persevering a bit and sitting down to present. But it's amazing for such a small space how much they cram in here. You've got a cooker, you've got a sink, you've got a fridge, there's even a fold out place for the loo. And it's just amazing what they fit into here. And even sat around the table at the front, you can see it's not a small space at all. It's cozy, it's cute. And I imagine for two people, you've got to be going away with someone who you do really like to go away in one. But it feels well made, it feels well put together. The interiors are quite stylish, because initially these vans were quite plain and generic. And over the years, they've slowly tweaked them to make them cool and really desirable. And it's clearly worked, because like I said, I see loads of these out and about on the roads. So definitely something to consider if you're a fan of Not Another White Box, and do check them out in Hall 12, because we've got a pink one, got a blue one and the standard white one. And I just love this pop of colour that's bringing a little bit of excitement to all white campsites. We need more caravans like this, and more people are clearly adopting the GoPod way of life. So do check it out and see it for yourself. Tucked away at the back of the Marquis stand, you will find the full British Mancelle range, which as of last week were officially NCC approved in Britain. These are French caravans, and if you've watched my channel at all, you will know that I am completely obsessed with them. So I've been bound and gagged from telling you too much about them in yet another NEC tour. If you want to know more about them, check out the video above, because I did a very in-depth review of a couple of models that were on display at the previous show. And there's no changes for 2024. They're still establishing the range in Britain. And like I said, they've just got their NCC approval. So clearly they're onto something, because a lot of continental manufacturers struggle to get that crucial approval in Britain. But Mancelle are one of them. I'm going to stop talking, because I will talk all day about them, but I will quickly say we have a full live-in test of the Mancelle Liberty Plaisance 440 coming very soon to the channel. Do subscribe, you will want to watch it. It is possibly the most mad and ridiculously in-depth caravan review I've done to date. It's something we did earlier this summer, and I'll give you my full thoughts on that van in that video. But subscribe, you'll be notified when that goes live. In the meantime, there's too many caravans to show you today, so I'm going to have to move on. But if you want to know more, check out the video above, and also subscribe to the channel for the full live-in test of this, because it's fabulous. Very, very quick, shameless promotion for Glawning, because as you know, if you follow Not Another White Box on social media, we have one of these for our caravan, and it is absolutely amazing. They're here at the NEC in Hall 12. Do check them out and talk to the Glawning team, because this is one of the truly greatest accessories I've ever bought for my caravan. This is not a sponsor. I absolutely love it. So do check them out if you're at the show. Tucked away in the corner of Hall 11, you'll find the Barefoot Caravan, and I've been always dying to show you around one of these, and we finally managed to arrive, because obviously we go in early before all the public come, and get an exclusive look around it in person. Now these are really exciting, because they're like nothing else on the market, and they're actually very highly customizable. You can change the colours, the interior trim and some of the spec. So if you want something that's truly unique that will reflect your personality, this is definitely a caravan to consider, and absolutely a contender for Not Another White Box. Inside the Barefoot, it's like nothing else you'll see at the show. It feels like a cozy den in here. It's adorable. Like my vintage Cheltenham, if you've seen the video that I've just done, it's all curvaceous inside. The Barefoot is the same, which is a really unique product on the market at the moment. Instead of straight lines and squared off designs, there's curves absolutely everywhere. Even the curtain rail is curved at the front to fit neatly around the front window. And it just really sort of envelops you and makes you feel snug and cozy. And that's one thing that I really love about these vans, is it just feels like an experience to be in one. It could be one of the ultimate glamping vehicles that's out there. And in fact, they now export these to North America under the New Camp banner. And I know lots of my followers will be interested in to find more out about those in North America. So I'm hoping at some point we could maybe get involved with Barefoot and bring you a more in-depth tour. But for the purposes of this video, we're going to take a quick look. So at the front end here, we've got this lovely U-shaped lounge, which converts into a double bed. And because the Caravan is ultra narrow to make it easier to tow, you have to sleep with your head at this end, which to be honest is probably the preference anyway, even if it was wider. But despite the narrow width externally, on the inside it still feels really spacious. There's plenty of room to stand up, and everything just kind of works in here. We've got this small little kitchenette, and one of the things that strikes me is the quality of everything. The fixtures and fittings feel really good. Even the sink cover is a real solid chunk of wood to use as a chopping board, and the worktops, they kind of feel like real quartz worktops. They're probably not, but it feels like this is the point. Everything in here feels strong, tough and durable, and this is probably a Caravan that you could buy and keep for a very long time. Towards the back of it is a small washroom area that manages to squeeze even a shower in. I love the little ductboard, which allows the water to run underneath and drain away. And forgive me, I'm going to sit on the loo. It's a really small space in here, but it works. It's functional. For the size of the van, they've done really well with the design in here. They've leaned into the curves of the body shell and styled everything around that. So you've got big flowing lines for the sink, and all the water funnels towards the drain. It's really well thought out, actually. And this is the thing. I don't want to sound like I'm surprised, because you know I knew these vans had a great reputation, but from a design point of view, it's really clever how they've fitted everything in to such a small but very unusual body shell. And obviously that's reflected in the price. It's not something you can build in 5 minutes, and quite a lot of technical skill has gone into this. Looking around it at the show today, it's hard to find any rough edges in it at all, and it's a really well made, well thought out Caravan. And like I said, I'm hopeful at some point in the future I can bring you a much more in-depth review of this wonderful little Caravan. Sadly, that's all we've got time for of this trip to the NEC Caravan and Motorhome Show in October 2023. Hope we've done a little bit of justice to the more unusual, quirky and cool caravan manufacturers that are displaying at the show this time round. If you've enjoyed the video, please do subscribe to the channel, because we've still got a few more dedicated tours to come from the show. But I really want to say a massive thank you to the Caravan and Motorhome Club for really being generous and inviting me to be one of the judges for the Design Awards. I have had the time of my life doing it. I am just such a saddo when it comes to caravans, and I haven't viewed it like work at all. I have enjoyed every moment of the judging process. It basically said, we need someone really judgmental, and you seem like the one to do it. In all seriousness, it's been brilliant to go behind the scenes and discover how it's done, and really understand the kudos and the respect that the awards have within the industry. It's the one award that all the manufacturers really hope that they will win, because it's such a thorough judging process, as you would have seen. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope it's been really informative for you. If you've got any questions about it, do let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, like, subscribe, follow NotAnotherWhiteBox on all forms of social media. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again soon.